Soyez savoir, we love Today FM. Today FM rocks.
Today's hit music on Today FM.
In this bulletin, arrests ordered for loitering outside curfew hours. 49 more detained for breach. And food chains note downturn in business.
From the studios of FBC Suva.
Police Commissioner Brigadier General Sithiweni Ngiliho has directed officers to arrest people found loitering in public places outside the curfew hours. The Prime Minister and the Ministry of Health have continuously reminded Fijians about physical distancing and urged them to stop unnecessary gatherings, but this is being taken lightly, says the Police Commissioner. Brigadier General Ngiliho says this is why he has issued a directive to the 5 divisional police commanders this morning to start arresting and charging people for loitering outside the curfew hours of 10 p.m. to 5 a.m. He stressed people must continue to take all necessary precautionary measures. With the extension of the school holidays for another 2 weeks, Brigadier General Ngiliho says parents and guardians must at all times ensure their children are at home and not loitering around places. Meanwhile, 49 people have been arrested for breaching curfew hours between 10 p.m. and 5 this morning throughout Fiji. Arrests made include 18 in the Western Division, 12 in the Southern Division, 10 in the Eastern Division, 5 in the North and 4 in the Central Division. Police Commissioner Sithiweni Ngiliho says the majority of those arrested were found loitering in public places, while some continued to move around without any proper documentation or authorization from their employers. On Monday, 68 people were arrested for breaching the nationwide curfew. Minister for Civil Service Aya Said Kiyum says the duration of civil servants having to work from home will depend on the situation regarding COVID-19. Said Kiyum says the guidelines for these civil servants working from home will be outlined by the permanent secretaries. He also provided clarification on the definition of non-essential civil servants.
So you can't say, oh, Ministry of Economy is not essential, or Ministry of Rural Development is not essential. It's within respective ministries. So, for example, in a ministry, you may have a policy division, and their job is to basically write up policies, write up papers, so they obviously can do that from home.
Minister for Economy Aya Said Kiyum says the Fiji National Provident Fund will be releasing finer details of how they will be assisting employees who have been affected by COVID-19. It was brought to his notice that some people were turned away by the FNPF who had gone to seek assistance. Said Kiyum says this should not have happened, adding they have held discussions with the fund.
We've ironed that out, and some more guidelines, in fact, has been rolled out, and FNPF would be advertising those new measures being put in place.
The minister says employers should also assist in the process by providing the necessary letters to show that members have been affected by the outbreak. The Fiji National Provident Fund says its hotels around the country have not been spared by the effects of the COVID-19 pandemic. Chief Executive Tsaochi Koroi says the pandemic is much worse than a financial crisis as it affects all industries. However, the fund is hoping to make the most of the current situation by upgrading some of its properties.
At this time, most of our hotels are either partially closed or on the process of full closure. Sheraton has been closed for a while for the upgrade. Western is also due for upgrade. Intercon is also due for some upgrades. So we'll be doing those upgrades during this closure.
The role of nurses is vital in these unprecedented times of health crisis. Fiji Nursing Association President Ailisi Vunji-Nyambola echoed these sentiments while highlighting how nurses have been on the front line in the fight against the COVID-19 pandemic. Vunji-Nyambola says amidst the pandemic, nurses have stuck by their oath more than ever to fulfill their responsibilities.
They are the ones who deliver the care. They are the ones who are manning most of these new fever clinics. Anything that is planned by the Ministry of Health and implemented, the nurses are always there.
2 major fast food chains have noted a huge downturn in their business. McDonald's and Pizza King are in a difficult position as they are doing their best to adhere to directives from the authorities while struggling to maintain sales. McDonald's has seen a 70% reduction in customers, and the company anticipates more challenges with Australia and New Zealand halting the manufacture of raw materials. Meanwhile, Pizza King Limited says they don't have much choice amid the COVID-19 crisis.
It's been down for about 60%, but we can't do much. We have to follow the government instruction, no, to contain the virus. If people are staying home, we'll probably be able to go and deliver the stuff.
The Consumer Council is calling on Fijians to be proactive and report on retailers practicing conditional selling. Chief Executive Seema Shandel says they've received several complaints where supermarkets are only allowing consumers to purchase a particular product if they are buying other supplementary goods. Shandel warns this is illegal. She says they will be making regular checks to identify businesses who may be indulging in such unfair trade practices.
I also want to let the traders know, be cautious. The Consumer Council is very clearly monitoring the market. We are always out there making sure that the best is provided to our consumers.
Resorts located on outer islands have banded together to ensure that essential supplies are able to reach them despite restrictions on inter-island ships. These operators rely on supply barges for food, medical supplies and other amenities. Fiji Hotel and Tourism Association Chief Executive Fantasha Lockington confirms they've been able to negotiate limited runs for these locations, which also look after island communities.
One barge will look after these properties. At the same time, they're also catering to the little communities that look to the resorts for the shops that they come and use. So they might be buying food items, medicine, phone top-ups, for instance.
Overseas, and the coronavirus death toll in the United States has now passed China with more than 3,400 dead. America has more cases of COVID-19 than any country in the world, and cities outside the hotspot of New York are now bracing for the worst. Coming up, Sprint King thankful for challenge. And plenty to consider for IOC. Stay with us.
Bula FM, number 2 NSR.
Bula FM, number 2 NSR.
Pacific Games gold medalist Mbanube Tambakadoro says shot put champion Mustafa Fall is keeping him on his toes as they vie for the Lone Athletics Fiji universality spot for the Tokyo 2020 Olympic Games. Tambakadoro says he's thankful to have an elite athlete challenge him for the spot. The 27-year-old sprinter has an advantage over Fall in terms of points and ranking, but says he won't be complacent.
He's been doing really well this past few weeks, breaking the national record almost 3 or 4 times this season, and it's great to see another athlete come up and compete at the level that we're at right now.
The new dates for the Tokyo Olympic Games may have been confirmed, but it comes after a lot of consideration. Brumbies playmaker Nolo Lesio says his enjoyment of his debut Super Rugby season hasn't been dampened by the competition suspension. A trough of low pressure remains slow moving near the country, with associated clouds and showers continuing to affect the group. Forecast for tomorrow, it will remain cloudy with the possibility of showers, which will become heavy at times. That's your FBC News Now. You can join us again at 7 p.m. for our major bulletin. And for these stories and others, you can also tune in daily to our sister radio station, Gold FM. Good afternoon.
Bula FM, number 2 NSR.
Bula FM, number 2 NSR.